So now what I have to create certain examples over here. Let's try and take some input from the user. Okay. Now in the earlier one, we had just simply printed. We had not taken any input from the user, which means suppose if I have to accept some value from the user, we had not done that over here, right? But for accepting value, what do we require? Somewhere to store the value, whatever the user enters. So here we have the concept of variables. Okay, so variables are nothing but containers which will hold some value which the user is entering on the screen. We have different types of variables. I'll come to those. Initially, let's create some string variable. Again, remember here S is capital. Okay, we are creating here variables, say F name, L name. Variable names can be any name you wish to give. They should start from a character. Now I want to accept the value from the user. Okay, so first thing is I will have to go here and say import, say java.util.scanner. Now, why I have done this? Because this is a namespace which is having certain libraries or certain classes which I want to use for taking the input from the user. Okay, so I have to just simply import that. Now, if you just look at it over here, just go back. Okay, you can see we have in that we have another package. Okay, so again, util over here is a package. In that, if you look at the scanner, you see it is a class, public final class scanner. So a package has another package, has a class name scanner. That is how we are basically importing the particular file. Now in this scanner, we have a method that is used for accepting the values. Okay. So first thing is I will ask the user, I'll give some message to the user saying system.out.println. I will say enter first name. So I'm asking the user to enter the first name over here. Again, all the statements in Java are ending with semicolon, which means this is the end of the statement. So you have to end it with a semicolon. Method will not. Method means opening curly brackets, closing curly bracket is a method. This is a statement. Now, whatever the user enters, I have to store the value in fname variable. Fname, I'm saying is equal to, okay. Before that, I will have to create an object of scanner. We'll create object, say inp is equal to new scanner. Now, why I have created this? As I have told you, Java is nothing but what? It is object-oriented programming language, which means if you have to use a particular function of any class into Java, you have to create the class object. So this is how we have created class. So now we can say inp dot. Now next means whatever value the user enters, we are going to store the value over here. Okay, this takes the input of system.in. Now system.out was to print something. System.in is to accept something. Hence we have passed here the parameter that we want to create the object of scanner class. Object name is inp. This name you can give any name. Suppose you want to give scan1 as a name, give that, but use the same name everywhere. And then here we are saying whatever the value user enters after this, you will store that next value in the variable fnm. Once we have done that, again we give user system.out.println, say enter last name, and we use again nm and we say again scan1 dot next, end it with a semicolon. Now I have to print a message to the user saying system.user.println, say welcome, and I want to print here the value of, I want to give a space. So again, I will concatenate double quotation marks. Again, I will concatenate the value of lnm. So it will print what? It will first print welcome colon space. Fnm will print the value what the user have entered over here. It will again concatenate with that a space and again print the value of lnm, whatever the user have entered in the command screen. Okay. Now let's try and execute. What was the shortcut for executing it? Shift F6. So see, it is asking me for entering username. My cursor is blinking there. So it will not proceed further. You can see it is running over here. It will not proceed till I enter something. Let's enter John. Enter last name. It says welcome John Victi. Okay. So whatever you enter, it is storing the same values and it is giving you the print message also that way. Now, as I have told you, we have various types of variables which we can create. So similarly, this was of type string that we had created. Similarly, we can also create of type integer. Now what we'll do is I'll just create another class here, say Java class, say third, and simply I will just copy this main method here. Okay, automatically import came. Now here I want to create, say, integer variables num1, num2. I want to perform the addition of two numbers. Okay, so here we are saying enter the first number. Now here I want to store the value, but next will not work here. Okay, because next will by default take a value of type string. I don't want it string. So what do we want here? We want, say, next int method we have, which we can use. Similarly, let's say num2, we have here next int method. And then here we will print another message. Let's give here, let's take another variable of type int here, say sum. So sum is equal to, let's make num1 plus num2. And let us try to print here system.out.println. The sum is, okay, we print the value of sum. Again, what is the shortcut? Shift F6. We enter here, say 40, 56, the sum is 96. Right? So in this way, we are getting the value. We have performed addition of two numbers. So in this way, we have seen another program wherein we have created 3 integer variables. We have taken the input from the user for the first number and the last enter the second number. Okay, and then we were printing the sum is the value of the sum variable over here. Just I'm showing you again 56, 56, the sum is 112. Let's continue further. Now in similar way, you will do one more exercise. Okay, now I'll just giving you one assignment. I'm creating a class here. Let's create assignment 1. Now your first assignment for today is, I'm just writing it down in the comments part over here. Say, write a program to accept two numbers from the user and perform subtraction, multiplication, and division and give the result to the user. So over here, you will have to use minus for subtraction, asterisk for multiplication, and a slash for division. Earlier, we have used plus for addition. Okay, so you will try out this example wherein you will take two numbers from the user and you will perform all these operations and you will give the output to the user back. Okay, I'm putting it in a multi-line comment so that it is easy for us to understand. Now, what do you mean by a multi-line comment? Suppose I start slash asterisk and asterisk slash, which means whatever lines I'm writing in between this, all are commented. Okay. Or if I have to write only one single line of comment, I can use a double backslash. Anyone would work. Okay. So you can see that over here in the same assignment 1.java file itself. Fine. I would put it just below that later on. Now, let's proceed further. I will create another Java class, say fourth file. All right, let's create this. Now let's move on to various operators that we have. So I am just copying the main file, okay, a main method. Now we have various kind of operators, that is variable, that is first say we have a Boolean variable. Let's create here a Boolean B. I'm assigning a value true to it. I'm creating a byte variable, say B1, assigning it some lower value. Creating it a short variable, say S1, assigning it a value, say 10,000, let's say. Creating an int variable, which we have just now seen, it can hold a bigger integer also. Again, if you want more than int, you can have a long variable created, which can store a much bigger value as compared to integer also. If you want to store some decimals, you can use their float. Store some values in decimal. Float will have an extension, whatever values you want to give, after that F. Similarly, double, Double will have a double precision of values. It is basically float is a 32-bit variable. This is a 64-bit variable. Okay, so you can have 64-bit value stored in this. There is no requirement of giving it D. It is assumed by default. If you don't give F, it is a double variable. Then to store a single character, you can have a char variable. Say I want to store just single A, not a whole string. For string, we have seen what do we have? We have a string which we can store. Okay. Apart from that, we have this different types of variables which we can use in Java for specific purpose. Okay. Boolean only will store a value of true or false, nothing apart from that. Only two values. Byte can store a value from -128 to 127. Again, if you don't give any value, the default is 0 over here. Short can store a value of -32,768 to a value of 32,767. If we come to integer, it is a very long value. You can just say 2 raised to the power of 31 minus 2 raised to the power of 31, or default value of positive 2 raised to 31. Similarly, long is 2 raised to 63, double than earlier. Float, I have told you it is a 32-bit value. Double is a 64-bit value. Character will have only a Unicode character, a single Unicode character. Okay. Now, how will you print all these values? Let's try and print this system.out.println. Let's print here the value of Boolean. We just give here B. Okay. Then let's print here the value of byte. Similarly, I'm just copy pasting it. I'm changing the values over here. Say S1, N1, we have long, we have float, then we have double, and we have a character. Okay, I have printed all the values on the command prompt. How will you execute? Shift and F6. All the values the way you have given, same way they have executed and given you the output. If you want to concatenate with this, something like say Boolean colon, use it like this. Again, run Shift F6, you get the values for that. So similarly, you can just make this concatenation for all byte, colon, short, int, long, float, double, and character. Now let's move on to the operators part. Let's create a Java class, say fifth file.java. Okay. Now over here, we have many operators in Java. Okay, so I'll just mention down in comments part first. We have, first of all, the unary operators, which are plus plus and minus minus. Plus plus means incrementing it by 1. Minus minus is decrementing the value by 1. Okay. Now, here also you have various post increment and pre increment. I will show you that with the help of example. It is very much easy for you to understand. Then you have a negation operator. Now, what will negation do? Suppose you have a value of variable, you can say -20. Okay, if you perform this, it will make -20 minus 1. It will come to -21 if you calculate this, right? But over here, for the negation one, if you have a value in the variable as 10, so it will make it 10, or you have the value over here as, this is 20, this is -10. Okay, it will make it 10 minus 1, which will be equal to 9. Since the value in the variable was positive, it negated the value and did -1. So the value became -21. Since the value in the variable is already a negative value, -10, it will make it 10 minus 1, which will be 9. That's how your negation operator will work. Negation is just a tilde sign. You will find that if you use shift and the key before 1, numerical key before 1, okay, on your 1, 2, 3, 4, the numerical bar that you have. Fine, that is your negation operator. Then we have another value, which is, we have operators like plus, minus, multiplication, division. You have one more, which is percentage, but this is not percentage. This is basically the modulo operator. Okay, now modulo operator will give you the remainder. Then what will this give you? A division operator, it will give you the quotient. Okay, this will give you the remainder of the division. Okay, now Let's try and work on some operators over here. So we will have to again create a main method. Okay, and here, instead of creating, okay, let's create some variables. Say n1 will give it 20, say n2 will give -10. Let's create n3 45, n4 as 4. I'm assigning some values over here just to make it easy for us to understand. Boolean b, we are giving it true. Say b1, we are making it false. Then we are creating int num1 as say 20, again num2 as 2. Let's create num3 as 40 and one more say result variable. Then we take n5 as